my children, as I said before, that we are going to talk more about the topic that we talked about last time, okay? So last time we talked about the African Empire between the 15th and the 16th century. Do you get it? Do you still remember it? Okay? Right. To continue, so that was the last topic. So we're going to start the new topic today, okay? Okay. You remember that there was what we call Second World War, okay? There was what we call, or there is what we call Second World War, or others are saying World War II, okay? So it was taking place in Europe, okay? In Europe, between two powerful groups. Between what? Two powerful groups. And I would like you, or I want the names of those groups from you, okay? What were the names of those groups? Yes, Nosipo? Okay, she is saying Axis Powers was one of the groups. Okay, someone else? He is saying, or Pumlan is saying Allied Powers. Do you agree with Nosipo when he's saying Axis Powers? Okay, it's fine, but we don't call it as Axis, okay? But we say Axis Powers, okay? So let me write the names. Let me write the names of these groups. That was Axis. Axis what? Axis Powers. Okay. The second group was, or you said, Allied Powers. Allied Powers. Okay. So these groups contains different countries. That means this was the name of the group of different countries who were working together to fight against the other group, okay? So what were the countries that were under Axis Powers? Let's see. What were the countries that were under Axis Powers? Okay, no with left. He is saying, she is saying Germany. Okay, Germany was one of the countries that were under Axis Powers. What other country, or the other country? Okay, Vuyo. He is saying Italy. Okay, that's correct. Okay, the last one. Yes, Kumlani. Okay, he is saying Japan. Okay, so these were the countries that were under what? Axis Powers. These were the countries that were under Axis Powers. Okay, so, okay, it's fine. So you note down those countries, okay? So these were the countries, that is Germany, Italy, and Japan, were the countries that were under Axis Powers, fighting against the Allied Powers, okay? So what were the countries that were under Allied Powers? Let's hear. Okay. Yes, put at the back. Oh, he is saying Russia. Okay, that's it. Russia was one of the countries that were under Allied Powers. Okay. Yes, what was the other country? Yes, Numvela. He is saying America. Okay, let me correct this. We don't say America per se, because America is what? It's a continent. But you can say USA, United, countries, USA. Okay, so what was the last, or two countries? Okay, it was France and Britain. So you can see that the number of these countries that are under allied powers is much more than the countries that were under Axis powers. And these countries are too powerful. Okay? So these were the countries that were fighting against each other in what we call, or in the war that was called the Second World War. World War. Because these countries are from different continents. In fact, are from the same continent, but different countries. Big countries, superpowers. Okay? Right. So these countries were fighting, okay? And these countries mostly were colonized the African countries. So South Africa was under the colony of what? Britain. As that war continued there in Europe between 1939 and 1945, South Africa volunteered to join the war. Okay, remember, South Africa volunteered to join what? The war. He is asking why South Africa volunteered to join that war. Who can say, or who can tell me, or tell us as a class, that why South Africa had to join the war? Come on guys, let's talk. Yes, names are on the back. Okay. She is saying South Africa went there to join the war just because they wanted freedom. Do you guys agree with her, or do you support her point of view or her idea? Do you agree? Okay. It seems like you agree. Okay, let me clarify it. South Africa had to join that war just because they were under Britain. I said it before. You have to listen attentively. You have to take note down. Something that you don't know, when I'm saying something that you don't know, you write it down so that when I ask it later, you are able to go back and see it and then you can answer it. Okay? So South Africa was under the control of Britain at the time. So they had to assist Britain in that war. Okay? Okay. Okay, before I go far, let me give you these maps, because these maps have got the map of the world, and the countries that took part in the World War are marked in red. Okay, so I will give you these papers, and then you will see. As you see, these are the countries that were part of the World War II. Okay, you take them. You look them attentively. So we said there was Germany, Italy, and Japan in the Axis powers. Then in the Allied powers, we said there was Britain, France, USA, and Russia. Okay? So what I'm saying is that South Africa had to join the war just because they were under the colony, or they were under control of Britain at the time. So they went there to assist Britain. Okay? Remember, South African people or black soldiers had no human rights at the time. So they wanted to join the war, but they were not allowed to carry guns. Do you think, guys, you can go to the war without having a gun? Okay, so they went there, but they were not allowed to carry guns. Okay? In fact, to carry any type of weapon. Okay. Who can tell me why do you think South African soldiers, black soldiers, were not allowed? Because they were white people, they were white soldiers who came from South Africa to assist in the war there, but they were allowed to carry guns. Why South African or black South African soldiers were not allowed to carry guns? Anybody can tell me? Okay, with it. Let's hear. Raise up your voice, please. Okay, so she is saying South African or black South African soldiers were not allowed to carry guns just because they had no human rights before at the time. That means even the Britain soldiers did not trust the South African soldiers, because they thought that the black South African soldiers can take those guns and point them to Britain. because they didn't treat black people as human beings. They treated them as animals. That's so painful, guys. That's what? That's so painful. How can you be trained as a soldier, but when the war comes, you don't get a weapon to fight? What are you going to fight with? Okay, let's pass by. So there were almost 200,000 South African soldiers who went there to the war. So as much as South African or black South African soldiers were not allowed to carry guns or to carry weapons, but they continued to volunteer themselves to go to the war. Okay? Okay, so what did they do there if they didn't get weapons? Or because they wouldn't fight with hands, while others were fighting with the weapons or guns. So they volunteered to work as stretcher bearers. Do you understand, guys, what a stretcher bearer is? Yes, no, what the back? Yes, a stretcher bearer is that bed, if you can say it's a bed, or that machine, it's a machine that carries somebody who has been injured or somebody who is dead. If you can see in hospitals or in the football pitch, when a player is fouled and can't go out himself, the assistant will come inside the pitch and then take that person and carry him like this. Okay, that's what we call a stretcher bearer. So that's what they were doing. People who were injured there, they would take them to the hospitals. Okay, so what are other things they were doing is that they would cook for the people who were going to who went into the fight, cook, clean, and load guns, weapons like bullets. Okay, something like that. That's what South African soldiers were doing. Okay. So with all what I've said, are we still on the same page? And what page is that? Okay, so I think we are always going with the same pace. If you don't understand, feel free to raise up your hand and stop me and ask it the question that you want to ask, or ask me to repeat or put a clarity where you want it to be clear. Okay, I'm not using any petrol, any battery to speak. I'm just free of charge. I'm here for you. Okay? Yeah, I think we are still on the same page. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, do you think South Africa was justified to go there? South Africa was justified to go there. Oh, okay. Even if they were not allowed to carry guns. So it was just fine, because when you're under control of a certain country that is powerful more than you, you have to do everything that that country or that superpower would like you to do. Okay? Alright. I think we're still on the same page. So during this process, that is of the war, okay, there were meetings that were being held at some point, because it's not like they were fighting every day. Then sometimes they would stop, and the leaders and some leaders somehow they would go and hold private meeting conferences discussing about the future, because they knew that this war at the end of the day it will end. It would end. So what was going to happen if the war has come to an end? Okay? So the leaders now, they would meet and discuss about the peace that was needed after the war. Okay? So they were leaders. So there was what we call Atlantic Charter. Okay? There was what we call Atlantic Charter. Let me write it down. Atlantic Charter. Okay, so in the Atlantic Charter, what was happening? Okay, listen attentively. You take notes down of what I'm saying. I said, if there's something that you don't know and I'm saying it, you have to write it down. Because at the end of the day, it will be asked and you are expected to give it, because we have been taught about it. Okay? Okay, so During the early stages of the war, the leaders of the Allied powers started discussion on how to make peace when the war comes to an end. Okay, that's what I've been saying. Okay, these ideas and arrangements were raised in the Atlantic Charter in 1941 by the USA President Roosevelt and Roosevelt and Prime Minister Churchill of Britain. As a result of the Atlantic Charter led to the establishment of the United Nations organizations and also the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay, so there were now two organizations that were formed. Why these organizations were formed? Okay, the only purpose or purposes or aims of these organizations was to make sure that at the end of the war there is peace, because people were already brutalized, were already left with bruise. So they wanted to make sure that at the end of the war, there is what? There's peace. Everybody needs a peace. Each country needs a peace. Okay? Right. So there was UNO, that is United Nations Organizations, which was abbreviated as UNO, like this. What does UNO stand for? So United Nations Organization, UNO. And there was also what? NATO. NATO, let me write it down. There was also what we called NATO. So NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. What? It's a North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay. So let's go. I think you are still on the same page. I said if you don't understand what I'm saying or you think you are left behind, you stop me immediately. You raise up your hand and then you ask any type of question that you want to ask based on what you are saying or what you are teaching or what you are talking about. Okay? Right. The purpose of the UNO were to make sure it brings human rights forward to the people's lives of all citizens. Okay? That means now it goes straight to what you talked about, because black South African soldiers were not allowed to carry guns. Because what? Because they were not allowed, they had no human rights. So the purpose of the UNO was to make sure that all people had what? Human rights. Okay. When you have a human right, that means you can do anything that you want to do, but you make sure that that thing that you're doing doesn't affect somebody else. Okay? Okay. So let's go to the NATO. NATO was to guarantee that all its members get freedom and security through political and military means. You know what? Everybody needs freedom. Okay? Anyhow. Okay? You have to be free. Freedom of speech, freedom of doing anything that you want to do, that's because you're a human being. So the purpose of these organizations, you see that everybody must have a right and everybody must be free. That means they wanted to bring peace. When you have a human right, when you are free, there is peace in front of you because you can do anything that you want to do without any fear or favor. Okay. That's it. Let's continue. So there were Nkrumah's African Games. So these are the meetings that were taking place along the process of this Cold War. Of this Second World War that was taking place in Europe between the two powerful groups, Axis powers and Allied powers. Okay. So for A.B. Nkrumah, who was a political activist who was once elected as the president of the ANC. So A.B. Nkrumah's African Games, this means A.B. Nkrumah was what? Was a political leader who was once selected as the president of the ANC in 1941. Okay? So he then looked back at the Atlantic Charter and wanted to develop a Bill of Rights. So what he wanted to do, he wanted to emphasize that everybody must have a human right, because he believed at the time that they had no human rights. Okay? Alright, so he wanted to, he revised that Atlantic Charter and picked important points, important ideas, and he picked up what? Human rights. Because everybody, he believed that everybody must have what? A human right. Are we still on the same pace, same page? Okay. I think everything is going according to how I wanted it to, because I think everybody is understanding me, right? Okay, so let's continue. So, the development of human rights. Okay, A.B. Nkrumah demanded that there should be a bill of human rights. Okay, that's what he wanted to install or to develop to the people of South Africa. Okay, because we're talking about the South African people, right? So that's what A.B. Nkrumah was all about. The most important thing is that he wanted to develop the Bill of Human Rights. Okay? Okay, let's continue. So there was a returning of soldiers. Remember, I said there were many soldiers, like 200,000 soldiers who went to the Second World War in Europe to assist Britain. Okay? So the war ended in 1945, and then soldiers who came from South Africa to Europe had to come back, because their homes are here. So the soldiers returned back to South Africa. Okay. Let's continue. Okay. So they came back being motivated with what they saw in Europe. Okay? Because that fight was all about freedom. It was all about emancipation. Okay? So they came back being motivated, and then they wanted to be free in South Africa, because they wanted to be free. They were under the control of Britain. So they wanted to be emancipated. They wanted to be freed. Okay? So they were motivated to raise up the African nationalism. That means African nationalism. Okay, let me ask you as learners, what is nationalism, first of all? What is nationalism? Okay, yes, Bushe at the back. Nationalism. Yes, nationalism is whereby groups of people coming together to fight for a common goal with the same history, same language, and the same background. That means we are all Africans, okay? And we are being colonized. We are speaking Nguni languages, okay? So we want us to be freed, to be given a freedom, to be given democracy, okay? That's what they came back with. Yeah, okay. So I think that's what we have to do up to so far. Any question? Believing that everybody have understood and have jotted down notes about what we have been saying, because at the end